Okay, hello GH101. I'm going to talk about homework 2A, where you're going to be running commands on one of the CS systems. I'm going to show this to you in Windows. So I'm going to go over to my Windows virtual machine. Okay. All right, here I am in Windows. I'm looking at the homework 2A, and then I'm just going to go through here. So first thing is to make sure that we have the programs installed to do transferring and running commands. That was down here under homework 1B. Down here. Okay, so installation on Windows, there's a link, and if you look at that, then it'll say that I need to have the PuTTY program. I don't think I have it installed on this one right now, so I'm going to go ahead and install it. For Windows, I have 64-bit Windows, so this is the right one to install. If you try one of them and it doesn't work, then try the other, 32-bit versus 64-bit. Okay, I'm also going to need FileZilla. That's already installed. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this homework 2A. And this is going to be due on September 7th. Okay, so I need to log in. On Windows, I'm using PuTTY. I'm going to connect to cs.indstate.edu. If this is the first time you've logged in, you get this message. You say yes, you're going to trust the certificate there. I'm going to use my GH10129 account. Okay, now I'm supposed to run these commands. CD space tilde, that puts me in my home directory. mkdir public underscore HTML, that's all case sensitive. Okay. I'm going to put in a few other things. CD public HTML, that puts me into this directory. All right, and then I'm going to do this command. Okay. Now if I do ls, I see that there's a file called hello.txt there. And what I want to do is make it so that I can view this in the web browser. I'm going to try this, and I think it's not going to work, and I'll have to put some more commands in there. Okay, so that says that's not allowed. Now you need to run a few commands. So I'll run these commands and then put them in here. So on the CS server, it's configured so that if you have a directory called public underscore HTML, then when I try to use the web server to view files from your account, that's where it will go. So the web server will go to this directory, but the web server needs to have access. So I am going to do chmod a plus x gh101 to let's see, dot, and then chmod a plus rx, and then chmod a plus r. So this is making it so that the web server that's running has permissions to view this file. This printout from ls-l shows the permissions right now. The person that created hello.txt, that's this account, has read and write permissions on that. The group, that's the class group, also has read and write permissions. That's probably not a great thing. That means anybody else in the class would be able to write to that file. I can change that by saying group -w. Okay, so now so the group class can read the file but not write, and then this part here is everybody else, including the web server program, the program that's running the web server. So the web server should have read access to that hello, but the web server also needs read and execute access to the directory. And we don't want the group to have write access to the directory. All right, let's try this out. I'll refresh. And then, so there we see the file hello world. So that's our first file that can be viewed from the outside world. If you do. All right, let's go ahead and type here what the commands are that we needed to do. So this created the hello.txt file. We're going to do chmod a plus r hello.txt while we're still in that public underscore HTML directory. cd ... or we'll say cd tilde goes back into your home directory. chmod a plus r a plus x dot. That makes it so that the web server is able to go into your directory. So if I'm sitting back here, cd space tilde, if I look at dot means the current directory I'm in. And if I do chmod a plus x dot, then the web server will be able to go into that directory. And then chmod a plus rx public underscore HTML. That makes it so the web server can go into this directory and read it. Directories have this permission that's called X that says whether other users and programs can go into those directories. So you should then verify that you can browse to let's see, go back up, that you can browse to this in your web browser. But with your GH101 account. Okay, so there you go, that's that. Now I want you to put an image into your public underscore HTML. It can be any image you want. I'm going to go to, let's see, why don't I do an image of Alan Turing as a famous computer scientist. So we'll go over here and we'll just take one of these. And so we'll save it like that. That's fine. Now I want to open up FileZilla. I want to connect to the CS server. I'm going to open my site. I do not have a site. All right, I'm going to create that. All right, so this is going to be sf2p cs.indstate.edu port 22 normal login HW2a 29. That's my okay, so I think I saved that, and I'm going to open it up again. Here we go. I'm going to connect. All right, there's my directory on the server. I'm going to go into my public_HTML directory. There's my hello.txt. Over here, I want to go to wherever I saved that file, which was pictures. Okay, there's pictures. Here's the file. I'm going to drag it over. Okay, now go back to the homework file. This says to change the name so that it's homework2a.jpg. Okay, homework2a.jpg, and so there that is. If we look at the permissions here, the user in the group can read write, but then everybody else can only read. So if I try to browse to this in my browser, it's probably going to give me that permissions error. Okay, forbidden. So I need to change the permissions. I can do it over in my PuTTY. I believe I can do it here, so let's see. File permissions. I want to give public read. And then refresh over here. Yippee-doo, the second file that we can view from the internet that's in our account. Change the name and also set the permissions so other/everyone has R access. All right, so you can do that in FileZilla or you can do it in PuTTY, either way. Note that I'm asking you for homework2a.jpg. Use that exact name so that when I'm checking it, I can just go and change, go through here. I can go through and change. I don't have to change the file name. I'll just go through all the different accounts. All right, that means you need to get a JPEG image. So pick one of them that's a JPEG, if there's some that are other types. Okay, now you have that. Next, I want you to create a text file in your homework directory. So in your capital HW directory, make a text file, and I want you to use one of the text editors, Vim, Emacs, Nano, or Atom. And those are mentioned. Text-based interaction on your home computer talks about those text editors, I believe. If not, then I'll be putting a link in here. Okay, Nano is the easiest one, so I'm going to show that right now. Okay, so the way Nano works is I give it the name of a file I want to edit, and over here I said notes, let's see, homework2a-notes.txt. I'm going to create that file. All right, here's my new file. This is notes for homework 2A. And what it tells me to put in here is, I'll put in here that I'm Jeff Kinney. And then the first thing to put in here is Unix, Linux commands I know about. So I want you to go back and check those videos again down below about text-based interaction on Unix, Linux, and Mac. This is from text-based interaction on Unix, Linux, Mac. All right, all of those are the ones that I want you to remember, and just make note of some of the commands that we know how to use. So remove is remove a file. That's delete. ls, list directory contents, and whatever. So whatever ones you remember, so you can keep some notes here and keep this up to date when you have a command that you want to remember. In terms of using nano here, these are the commands to do things in the editor. It's all text-based, so the mouse doesn't do anything. I'm using the up arrow and left and right arrow to move around in the file. To save it, I need to write out, so that's Control O. Hold down the Control key and press O. It pops up and says, do I want to keep the same file name or change it? I want to keep it the same. I'm going to press Enter. Now it's saved. If I'm done with the file, Control X exits. Okay, now I can go and edit it again. I'm going to press the up arrow to go to my last command. All right. Okay. So that's that part. Put in maybe 10 commands or something like that, the ones that you remember, that you go back and review the video. For the next part, I'm going to ask you to run a bunch of commands and put the information in here. I'm going to open up another copy of PuTTY so I can have one of them running commands and one of them editing my text file. I'm going to leave this one open with my text file, and I'm going to run commands on this one, whatever it says to do here. So the first one is hostname, and that says cs.indstate.edu, and so I just want to put that in here. So that's the system that I'm actually running commands on right now over here. If you're in the Unix lab, then this would be one of the Unix lab computers. And I could go to one of those Unix lab computers right now by doing SSH x1. Ask me for my password. If I say hostname here, it says x1. Or if you're in the CS classroom, you might be on one of the Y computers. And if I said host name, it would say Y5. Okay, but I'm going to run things on the CS computer. All right, so I got the host name. Next is the CPU. I want to go and look in the /proc/CPU info. That's a file. So I'm going to do cd /proc. Now I'm in the /proc directory. I do ls. There's a bunch of stuff. One of the things here is a file called CPU info. Okay, I want to look at the CPU info file. I could do nano to look at it. Okay, give me a warning, I'm not allowed to write into this. And then I want you to record what is the CPU. Okay, so I'm in PuTTY. I can select this. That's the model of the CPU. That was a left click and drag. Now if I do a right click, I believe that pastes, or you can just type over here. The CPU on the system is an AMD EPYC 7551. Okay. All right, and I also want you to look up how many cores and how much cache are on that CPU. So that was an AMD EPYC 7551. It said 32 cores in the description there. So that's 32 cores and 64 megabytes of L3 cache. So 32 cores, 64 megabytes L3 cache. All right. And the CS server actually has 2 of those. And I'll just put one here. Now the next one is memory, so free-h. I'll get out of this file. I don't want to, I'm actually not allowed to modify, so all right, free-h. That says how much memory is free. And -h means instead of giving me the number, do it in gigabytes or megabytes. All right, so we've got 995 gigabytes total. That's what I want. Memory, and this is 95, and that's actually GI is slightly different than GB. You can look up what the difference is if you want, but for now you can just think of that as similar to gigabytes. Okay, next is drive space. So there's a command to see the drives. DF is for disk free -h. So the different drives we have here, I'm looking at the size here, the total. So 18 terabytes. So 18 plus 4 plus 10 terabytes. That's 32. Then the gigabytes I have 64 plus 127 plus 127 plus 498 plus 498 plus 1016. So 2,330 gigabytes, 32 terabytes. I'll call this storage. So 32 terabytes plus 2,330 gigabytes, which is roughly, so 2,000, let's see, okay, we had a somebody come in. All right, so the total there would be, right, this is like 34.33 terabytes. Okay, on the CS server. Okay, that's all the information, and then questions. So questions, so just put some notes here about anything that you, whatever you I don't quite understand how to do something. Use FileZilla. Maybe you keep making mistakes on FileZilla. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Or maybe you, for homework 1B, that was the one where you build your own computer. I got points off. Don't know why. Or perhaps whatever you might not be understanding, or if you have questions, and then when I look at those, I'll know if there's some things we need to talk about. All right, I believe that is all. So each of these is worth 2 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we've got 2 points here, and 2 points here, and 2 points here. So that should be 18 points total. And due on Friday. So good luck with the homework assignment.